Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Joanna Estes, and would you mind if I moved it to
Sure.
Evans one? Okay.
Councillor Evans.
Yes. Okay. I am here also representing the Flagstaff Liberty Alliance as the treasurer of the Flagstaff Liberty Alliance, and I did have a lot of involvement in creating the original resolution, and I have read through the amended resolution put forward by Councilmember Orvitz, and it is my opinion that it holds true to the underlying message that we were hoping to put forward with this resolution. However, I feel that Councilmember Evans' version of the resolution has kind of sidetracked and taken a sub-reason for the original resolution and put it forward as the main reason. And I'd like to quote it as, whereas this is in this modern age, much of the food we eat on a daily basis reaches our dinner tables only after being transported hundreds, if not thousands of miles. And a little bit later where it says, embraced the importance of using sustainable practices to produce healthy and locally grown food. And now, therefore, let it be resolved that there is an interest of providing healthy and sustainable food for, there's lots of foods there. I'm not sure if it's food and food production or if just food production. There's lots of foods there. But this resolution changes the underlying goal and motivation of the original resolution. The original resolution is to support the rights of the individual over the pressures and highly commercialized corporate food economy of America. On a local level, it's the right of the individuals over the rights of large organizations. Not the interest of providing healthy and sustainable food production options. That is a wonderful goal, and that is one of the goals that was part of our resolution, but it's not the underlying main goal of our original resolution, which is supporting the rights of the individuals. And I want to make this clarification because under Councilmember Evans' version, there's still quite a lot of room for legislature that would hinder the rights of the individual. For an example, there are several counties that have passed in the spirit of drought legislation rules regulating people from using water in their yards, to the effect that that could stop gardening and could it potentially hinder gardening under the guise of being sustainable water management. So yes, there's a great reason to support sustainable growth, but it doesn't get at the underlying message that it's to support the rights of the individual to grow their own food how they would like on their property and not be hindered by legislation in the future. Doesn't give people the rights to go against laws that are created currently. It would just help guide future legislation from preventing people's liberties and rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Question, Ms. Spirits?
So one of the things that I feel like there's been some confusion about, people who that I've talked to who have heard about this in the community, is that I think there's an impression that people aren't allowed to grow food here. And so how did you explain that? I mean,
this
you know,
is
because
more preemptive.
Okay,
there are other places in the country where it has already become prohibitive for people to have gardens. Not here in Flagstaff, not locally. This is preemptive.
So is really the intent to try to ensure that the City Council, through the zoning code, doesn't have a provision in the zoning code that says gardens are prohibited?
Not specifically that verbiage.
But so explain to me. I mean, that's what I'm trying to understand.
The goal is that it will be guiding in future, that you will think on this when passing legislature in the future. Will this inhibit the individual's rights to have a garden on their property in any way, shape, or form? So if water tables become low in 25 years and the council thinks that it is imperative for water restriction and water usage, that they will think before, and is purely example speculative, that they will think on this before, for example, levying a fine for overwatering a garden or not having, desert landscaping or high desert landscaping or natural landscaping, that a garden wouldn't be considered natural landscaping and therefore could be banned, like what we are seeing in other counties in areas.
So what about the whole question of nuisance? I mean, one of the reasons we have a zoning code is to protect against nuisances.
Correct.
And so if you're living next to someone who does something that, in the context of gardening, I'm just hypothetically, and it's a great thing for gardening, but it really annoys the person next to them, or let's say it has to do with livestock.
They have chickens or something like that, yes.
But so how would you feel in the future if the council tried to address that problem vis-a-vis an ordinance?
An ordinance,
Addressing a nuisance problem.
a nuisance problem. That's one of the things that we're hoping to address now. Currently, it's very difficult for people to have livestock, and there are a lot of preconceived misconceptions about having livestock in residential areas. So it would just be my hope that you would think on it and inform yourselves to the realities of the livestock in the residential areas. And also to recognize that it's more beneficial to the community to be able to produce their food. And if there is a nuisance, it would be handled on an individual basis and not with sweeping legislature that would prohibit the individual's rights.